Manny?
The Manny of the hour.
Manny of the hour.
Yeah.
Manny Fresh.
Yeah.
That joke will go a lot when we do a pool party. But anyway, I really like those last three songs. I think mostly everyone knew them too, right? Pretty much. But I think a couple things I just kind of wrote down with Father's Embrace. What I really did like about it was just that in the beginning it says we're all learning to be his father, well, his children, right? His sons, his daughters, and I just really connected with that. And we're in his grace. He was like embracing it. It like set the mode for us in a sense. And then I don't know, for On the Throne, that one gets me going. It's awesome. It's like just heading for it, the power. He's victorious, and it's like, wait, we got this guy or father on the throne, and it's like, well, why would we be scared? We can conquer anything. He's got our back. So that's why I chose that song. And the reason why I kind of wanted to finish with that last one, this is how I thank the Lord. It just really says, like, it literally says, this is how I thank the Lord. And for her, it was her singing. So I'm going to sing his name. And it's like, well, kind of gave me some questions on how do you thank the Lord, and how grateful are we or you as well, and what do you do per day or every week or whatever, just to show that thanks, right? So I don't know if anyone wanted to share what they do, but it's just she sang, if I'm going to share, I just like talking to people. It could be any given moment. We're just sitting there having a good time talking about business or work or just life, and then they'll drop that they have faith, and then it's on. It's like, oh, you gave me the door. Oh, I'm spiritual in some way. Great, coming in. So that's how I try to think. It's like you gave me the opening. But how about any of you? Is anything that kind of comes to mind that you like to do throughout the week, days, give thanks?
Oh, I love to sing. Like I don't have like a singer's voice, so don't ask me to
You're good.
sing any night ever.
Shower singing. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm like a low. Like I like the happy. I love to sing though, and like play music, and I talk to the Lord throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like and people throughout the day. Like so, as soon as there's a door, they say anything about anything, it's on. Like as soon as you know anything about, especially with the name Faith, it comes up a lot.
Oh yeah, that really comes up.
My name is Faith, and like, what is it? Like I'm like I have faith in you, faith in God. Like, do you have faith in God? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like,
it's on.
And
no, that's awesome.
Talking to people, but I like to talk to the Lord throughout my day.
Yeah.
And just it's a constant. It kind of makes it hard to like put aside quality prayer time because I feel like I'm talking to him throughout my entire day. So when I put aside quality prayer time, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of already went over everything, but you gotta do it anyway.
You just keep going, right? Yeah, exactly.
So,
oh, that's good. Anybody else? Or?
I sing to the chickens.
Heck yeah. That's why we get great eggs.
It might be the secret.
I know, we need some.
We do get woken up to a few ditties.
Yeah, like I sing to the Lord, especially in my car on the way to work and after work and sometimes at work. Really bad off key.
It's all
we
good.
sing really well together.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's music to his ears.
We're having a good time. We're connected. He was there. He said, "Don't quit your day job," but I like hearing it.
I'm not sure. Like I wanted to say, like God thinks it's beautiful, but is he up there like I don't know?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Well, he gave us all our talents. I mean, he knows which one he poured the little cup with his voice. For me, no, it was just a sprinkle for me.
Yeah,
you got more than me.
He's like, oh, yeah, that's enough.
Anybody else? I think you were about to say something.
Yeah, I just think throughout the day with my job, I'm around people, but a lot of times I'm like a receptionist, I guess you would call it. A lot of times there's like no one around, just myself in this big cavernous room, and I'll like pray or pray quietly, but like out loud. And when I'm in my car, or if I get some good news, or if I just feel grateful, I'll just do like a thumbs up, like thank you, like this. So that's what I do.
No, definitely, I like it.
Yeah, it's very casual, but he's a casual guy sometimes.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that's a relationship. I know that Chris
Yeah.
always talks about us trying to have and going
Yeah.
deeper. It's like when we have
Yeah.
those conversations and we're some people, you know, thank God for Bluetooth, right? Because now we can talk in our car without people
I can
thinking we're
talk on a
crazy.
motorcycle. Like people call and I'm supposed to answer, and and they're like, "You're on the bike?" I'm like, "Yes." Praise God! Like,
Is it hard to hear when you're on the bike, or is it?
actually no.
Oh, it's not?
Like
Okay.
the way, like, well,
As long as you have
yeah,
got the Bluetooth, it's
yeah,
not
Bluetooth. Their
pretty.
speakers are right there, and your mouthpiece is right there.
Okay. That's cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Did anyone else want to share at all, or is there in the room or
So for me, I start.
skip you? Sorry. What started?
That's
No.
all right. I mean, there's not like a line or anything. For me, I start every one of my prayers by saying thank you first. So thank you for all the blessings that he's put in my life. Thank you for everything that he does, all of his mercies. So I start every single prayer thanking him. And then like throughout the day and things that are happening or encounters or, I make sure, thank you for that opportunity. Thank you for giving me that opportunity to speak to that person, or thank you for being there today. Every single way of just being able to talk about him and for him and do things for him. I make sure that I say thank you for giving me that opportunity. Or something I've been practicing a lot more that me and Chris talked about was, the mindset and switching mindset when you start getting distracted and like really focusing on thank you for that, but and then kind of trying to switch it. So those are all things that I do every single day.
Awesome. Anyone else, or I think we're pretty good, right? I think everyone pretty much shared. And I kind of already shared what I kind of like to do to thank the Lord, but it kind of like those 3 songs kind of led me into something where I've even talked to you before, maybe a few months about it. But what I kind of felt like I was getting led to do is kind of go over the parable of the talents. Has anyone heard of it? It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. I like it. It's actually one of my favorites because it's like over the progression of like my journey in my life. It's like it meant something different back then, and then it kind of progressed, and then I called you that one time. I was like, man, I was in the gym and like this happened, or it's like just new idea. I'm like, it was there the whole time, but it's like just new timing in a sense of maybe what we understood. But seems like everyone knows it. What I figured I'd do is just kind of read right through real fast for everyone, and then I was just kind of breaking down small pieces here and there. But I'll check it out. So we must have been knocking it over. All right. The kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them, and made another 5 talents. And likewise he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. So he who had received 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Look, I have gained 5 more talents besides them. His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of our Lord, or your Lord. He who also had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents. Look, I have gained 2 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Then he who received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid, and went and hid your talent in the ground. Look, there you have what is yours. But his Lord answered and said to him, you wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money in with the bankers. Well, I messed that up, but with the bankers. and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. So take that talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. And cast that unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So how did you guys all take that? Sorry, my reading was getting a little bit, my eyes started couldn't see, but anything jump out for you guys?
I'm joking, but it like makes me think of like stockbrokers, like you're investing your money with a stockbroker.
Yeah.
So the moral story is don't be the bad stockbroker because otherwise you're gonna be cast out.
Right.
Yeah.
What's like you just hit the button.
You're gonna lose it all basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's crazy? Well, we'll get to why I like where you're going with that.
I'm joking.
No, I get it though. It makes sense.
I do understand the point though. Yeah.
No, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone else have anything to kind of share at all, or?
What chapter and verses are you in?
Sorry, that was Matthew 25:14 through 30. Sorry, yep.
I thought the same thing. So I couldn't remember if they mentioned if Mark or Luke mentioned it.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry.
No,
I have all the other ones planned out, but I should have just said there. It's
That's
just
That's when you get
It's
it
your
for
first time
the audience.
okay, yeah. So yeah, Matthew 25:14 through 30. Well, one of the things that kind of got me, at first I was sitting there before, I'll give you my meeting where I had a while ago. I was stuck on this kick of, I was in sales. And I'm like, man, I need to make money. It's about money. Oh, God says I can go make money. Like, it's going to be okay. I have to go make money. He says to go make money. But right, it's like, oh, well, was that really the whole idea? But later on, it was, okay, well, there's other things beyond just making up the money. But one of the things that kind of got me, right in the beginning on verse 14, so Matthew 25:14, it says, for the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country. One of the things that got me with that is like, well, who's the man? And it's like God. Well, the kingdom of God is like this man traveling. I'm like, wait a second. And I kind of related that when I'm like, woke up one morning and it was like John 14:17. Like, I was like, wait, I got this thing. Like, I know I've seen something like that. Googled it. And then I had that one. Give me 1 second. I thought John 14:17. Okay, so it says, so John 14:1 through 7, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. I'm like, wait a second, that was kind of huge on that one. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself. I'm like, well, there he came back, from that parable. That where I am, there you may also, or may be also. And where I go, and the way you know. And then it goes a little further. I figured you'd include it because the last part is just amazing. But it says, Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going, and how can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. But the biggest part was him saying, he's like, I'm going away and I'm going to come back. So it kind of related to that.
That's really good. I never saw that, but I would have never seen that.
So it's kind of like, wow. So that was like that one day I was just going on my gym. I'm like, wait a second. The man is Jesus. I was like, he's going away. I was like, wait a second. That's amazing. So and then it's like, wait. So now I had to dive in deeper on the talents, right? You're like, wait a second. Is he really telling me to go make money? But let me get back over to Matthew 25. 20, man, almost there. All right, boom. But so I was trying to go a little bit deeper. And part of the things is, if we look at what verse 15, one of the things that I kind of like was where it said he gave 5 to one, 2 to another, and then 1 to another. But the piece that kind of jumps out is the fact that it was according to his own ability. So God knows what we're kind of capable of, right? And he gives us, and some are getting more than others, but it's still the piece that gets me is according to his own ability. And I'm going to come back to that. What's kind of crazy is, what did they go do? Well, they all immediately did something. The reason why I bought the NIV version was just because in in Matthew 25, was it 15? He says, where'd it go? He says they immediately went. Where'd it go? Why am I not seeing this? Okay. Yeah, well, hold on. Why is it not saying it now? What did I miss? Then he went to the journey. The man received the 5 times, went at once. There was another one. Maybe it was on my Bible Gateway. But anyway, in this one, it does say, just so you can see, the man who received the 5 talents went at once. So, like, he didn't just waste his time. He just went and did it. He was like, I'm out. Let's go do this. What's crazy, though, is the Lord never told him to go do anything. He just, I'm doing this. Doing it for the Lord. I'm doing that. So did the 2. However, the 1... he's a little scared. I mean, you're like, why are you scared, man? But it kind of puts that where you just what he says. I know you reaped where you've not sown and gathered seed where you've not spread seed or something of that nature. But it was like he was just scared. He's just nervous about what would happen to him, right? And he was saying the bank, what if I lost all his money? But at the same time, the Lord believed in him that he had that ability to go do something with that money. But where I was going is technically, when we think of it, he never did anything wrong. Like he buried the money. I mean, that's technically not wrong. He protected it, I guess. But like, yeah, he tried. I guess he tried it. But did he try his best? Because we don't know how long he was gone, right?
He called him lazy.
He did call him lazy, right? And then we don't know how long he's gone. So was it like a couple of days?
A couple years.
Was it a couple of years? You know what I mean? So it's like, well, what did he do with his time if he wasn't doing something for the Lord in some fashion?
Yeah.
Right? Or like,
yeah, that sounds right.
That's why it's like some of those questions, like, wait a second, what were you doing? So is that why you're wicked and lazy? Because was he gone for 10 years and then he came back? Was it a year? I mean,
I like, so the Living Bible says it verse 1,000. He gave 5,000 to one, 2,000 to another. So yeah, consider it, if it's 1,000, someone give you the Lord give you $1,000, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
Like how, like in a month. Even in a month, I figure you can do something with it. Because back then they didn't have cars or so if he went away, it was probably
a while.
A few weeks, few months at least.
Another country, who knows which country? I mean, that's definitely months.
That's
but
a minimum. Like you gotta, a few months. If not a few years, like, but you can figure out to do something with $1,000 for the Lord. Like, even if you lost it, if you tried.
Well, that's what I was wondering too, right? Like, what if you tried? Would he have been dead?
But you lost it,
Like, I don't know. It doesn't say.
Right.
But like, he had where I was kind of dwelling, going even further is like, so he did nothing for however long that time frame was. No growth, no building value, no educating himself, nothing at that point, right? So you're like, wait, maybe that's why I was wicked. But
because he was like stagnant. There was no growth. So I guess if he had tried, maybe the parable would have been something else. But I guess he didn't. So
he didn't do anything. It sounds like but the part like it kind of resonated more with me, right? Because he pretty much says right here is like, he says you should have put my money with the banker on deposit so I could have gained interest, was pretty much saying, you should have been wise and took action in some fashion.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, but then you're like, well, can you fault someone for not putting in action or not knowing how to do those things? Because I mean, not everybody knows to go play in the stock market, right? So it's like, wait a second. But where it's kind of going back to verse 15 was just saying according to his own abilities. But it's like, well, where did they get those abilities? Once again, it never said that Lord gave them those. He just knew they had these abilities. So I kind of just was sitting there saying, like,
it's unmuted.
Well, what, like, how do you think they got those abilities? I started questioning it. Like, where did he get those abilities? Can we take accountability of gaining more abilities? You know what I mean?
Well, I just like, so mine says a man coming from going into another country. So you do come from another country. Called together his servants. I look at your, who you're associated with, your people, like, and it's like if he gives one, servant, 5,000, 2,000, and you get 1,000, you're still associated with these people who know to do something.
Mm-hmm.
You're not like, so for me, like, if I don't know what to do, like, I talk to people who are above where I am.
Yeah.
And, it looks like he didn't even do that. Like,
well,
you go to
exactly.
the one who gave 5 and say, hey, what do I do with that? I have no clue doing this.
Yeah, because you kind of wonder, it's like he's probably hanging out with those other servants. The other servants are like, yeah, I'm going to go, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. What are you doing? Well, I just left it over behind the tree. Like,
right.
It's like, but maybe he could have read a book. I don't know. Started hanging out with those servants. Maybe he would have fostered something to get them to try something. But that's what I kind of liked about it. Like I kind of feel like we have the ability to gain more abilities in ourselves, but just training or just going out there and trying and experiencing new things. We don't know what that is, but it's just you're around other people, other business like people that might help you do something else, or you're around trainers or something. You know, it's just what can we do to help bring more value to the Lord. But the reason why I kind of went down that road is what I like is I feel like we have the ability to change our mentality, our mindsets, our journey in a fashion, right? Like, and then by doing and gaining those new experiences, God is then coming in and helping us complete or giving us a whole new direction because we gained a new ability in some fashion. And it's all faith if we're trying to do it for God, right? Like, I'll just use like maybe I go to the gym just so I look in shape, so that someone might say, hey, you look like a reasonable person. It helps me with sales, but then it just, I can relate to other people who go to the gym. You know what I mean? Or I'm in sales and it relates to other salespeople, or I go out with different friends and then it just relates. But the idea is just we have the chance to experience new things, gain abilities to then further that for the Lord. And that's why I kind of like that it said that it was given to them by their own abilities. And I feel like we have the opportunity to gain more abilities. How does that make you feel, though? Do you agree in some fashion?
Oh, wow.
Manny,
Yeah. I think a
hi.
lot of people like the guy that only had the one talent. I think a lot of people are afraid to fail, or they're afraid of the consequences of failure, or they're just not educated enough on something, or don't have the right background. I mean, maybe they use these things as excuses. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And that causes them to not take action on their part. Like I think of myself, like for most of my life, I'm not trying to down myself,
Yeah,
but like for
yeah.
most of my life, I guess I think I'm a good person, but like I was like a stagnant, probably still am to an extent. I'm kind of like a stagnant Christian. Didn't really do much to like advance to help to bring others to the faith, so to speak. So maybe he's kind of getting at that angle also. The guy's just not using his talents the way he should be, or his one talent the way he should be.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the picture. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think you're going down the right road. I mean, I think
Yeah.
we're all at different points in our lives. I mean, I didn't start out where I'm at with our business in any fashion, right? Like it took a lot of failing, obviously, but then learning this piece and then making that move to the next piece, it's like the stepping stone. But now to where we're at, it took years. I mean, it's like 40 now. So it's 20 years of growth from a kid where you just got thrown out into the world. You know what I mean? So now it's like you use all that culminated education and experience to now it's like, well, how can the Lord use you? Because you've been through those 20 years and he was there with you each time, right? And you're like, wait, was this like so with just some things, it's like I used to take pictures, now I can do pictures, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to pay this person to do this, and it just all connects. And you're like, wait, is this my destiny? You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of funny. So I just like I like the fact that I like to think that we have that ability to keep growing as we go throughout our lives with just different experiences with faith in the Lord, right? Like we're saying, I want to go and do this for the Lord. I'm trying this. He's going to give me direction. And if there was this one book that I mentioned to Chris, it's like God's will. And there was a gentleman or a pastor in this. He's like, I want to go to France and I want to do mission trips to France or doing something. And the guy was scared, right? He was scared. He was like, I don't know what to do. And one of his friends or pastors was just like, just go, you got to try. Just try and get out there. So he tried. Well, in the end, he ended up in Canada doing missions, but they also speak French there. So he was learning to speak French. You see what I mean? So even though we have that direction, we're trying this route. It might not be where we land, but it's in his plan in a sense, you know? So. But also in the end, it's like that action. I feel like we can't be scared because if we go back to that one song, this guy, he's on the throne, our Father is on the throne, he's glorious, victorious, he's amazing. So why are we scared? Like, why are we not trying? Because even if we fail, we're not failing, we're learning, right? I mean, we're really learning, and then he's going to guide us somewhere else or some fashion. And then I had a couple other examples. It's up to you, but like another example of just wisdom in a sense, because he doesn't say in here, is just like the faithful, the parable of the wise and foolish virgins, 25:1. I mean, I thought I put it right to about 1 through 13. I guess I could read it real quick, but Then the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Now 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. It's like, well, why were they wise, right? Like, okay, why were the other ones foolish? But those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the other wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. You could kind of end there, but the reason is like, well, no one told them to bring oil extra. So why are the other ones foolish? But common sense, but it's still like we got to think. That's why I chose it, right? It's like we got to think, right? Like they could have been like, oh, Lord, why didn't you tell me I needed to bring the oil? You should have brought the oil. You should have prepared. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we could kind of keep going, but obviously we know where it lands. The 5 don't make it. They had to go buy oil, and now they're outside. But I went with another one, too. It's like David and Goliath, Samuel 17, 34 and 37. I don't know if it's been a while since I was there, but I was sitting there thinking about it. But if you go to Samuel 17, 34, what I like about this is, but David said to Saul. So, are you all familiar with the story with all what's going on there, David and Goliath? Come on! He seems like that. But anyway, we got to have some fun. We got to have some fun. But really, at this point, right, it's like where David comes down. He's a young boy, right? But David said to Saul, your servant used to keep his father's sheep. And when a lion or bear came and took a lamb out of the flock, I went out after it and struck it and delivered the lamb from the mouth. And when it arose against me, I caught it by its beard and struck and killed it. Your servant has killed both lion and bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living God. Moreover, David said, the Lord who had delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear, he will deliver me from the hand of the Philistine. What I kind of like, though, is he took action once again. He was protecting the flock. No one said, go protect the flock. He just, it's my job. It's what I do. But it's once again, it was action. It was scary. But here's some little kid just rolling out there like, I got you, and take this guy out. You know, it's like, wait a second, where was that?
Yeah.
Where did he get that? I mean, he had faith that he was doing for God, right? And I think that's what we do throughout our daily lives. And then just the last one, just to kind of, and I'm almost done, but it was just like back in Luke 7:36. It's kind of long through 50. It's seven.
I was just looking at the Michigan, is it a calendar? Oh, sure.
All right, what was it?
It's like randomly stare at things.
Trying to find it. Okay. So in this one, I'll read it. So the sinful woman forgiven. Then one of the Pharisees asked him to eat with him, and he went. So Jesus is with them, Pharisees, and he went to the Pharisee's house and sat down to eat. And behold, a woman in the city was a sinner. Wait, I keep missing that. When she knew that Jesus sat at the table in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster flask of fragrant oil, and stood at his feet behind him, weeping. And she began to wash his feet with her tears, and wiped them with her hair of her head. And she kissed his feet, and anointed them with the fragrant oil. Now when the Pharisees who had invited him saw this, he spoke to him, saying, this man, if he were a prophet, would he know would know who and what manner of woman this is who is touching him, for she is a sinner. And Jesus answered and said to him, Simon, I have something to say to you. She said, teacher, say it. Or so he said, sorry, teacher said. There was a certain creditor who had 2 debtors. One owed 500 denarii and the other 50. And when the other had nothing, and when they had nothing with which to repay, he freely forgave them both. Tell me, therefore, which of them will love him more? Simon answered and said, I suppose the one who he forgave more. And he said to him, you have rightly judged. Then he turned to the woman and said to Simon, do you see this woman? I entered your house, and you gave me no water for my feet, but she has washed my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair of her head, with the hair of her head. You gave me no kiss, but this woman has not ceased to kiss my feet since the time I came in. You did not anoint my head with oil, but this woman has anointed my feet with fragrant oil. Therefore I say to you, her sins which are many are forgiven, and for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loves little. Then he said to her, your sins are forgiven. And those who sat at the table with him began to say to themselves, who is this who even forgives sins? Then he said to the woman, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. But it's like she had so much faith that she just believed by doing these things, but no one said, go do this, right? It's like, once again, she took an action because of faith that she was going to be saved. And she knew that was the correct person to do that with. But what I liked about all those, it's like, I still feel like we do it in faith and we try, but we need to act and just try and experience and grow our abilities so God can use us even more.
And I guess the more faith you have, the easier it is to act. Like it just builds upon itself, I guess, right?
Well, I would say so, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, think of it like you started at your job, you're now been there a few years, you probably know how to do the job, right?
Right.
Now you're like, well, what's next? So it's
Yeah.
like the same thing. That's a new skill.
Right.
So then it's like, well, what's next in your life? And then how do you use those couple skills to get further and then push towards the Lord in some fashion? And then it's even better, like I was saying, after 20 years of being 18 years in sales, it's like, wait a second, all the different things I tried are now helping individually each time. So it's like, well, what,
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So
Let's see.
So it was just kind of like because I'm pretty much done at this point, but it just kind of felt like why I was the past few weeks, I just been kind of having this burning sensation about action and just trying. Like I feel, I mean, even myself, I wonder, we get scared, we wonder what we should do, but in reality, we should, we have the Lord. He's got us. If it's in His name, He wants it to happen, we're going to be just fine. And if we fail, we're going to be just fine. So it's just taking that action and trying to do something, and no matter what it is, but put God in front, to help you, bring it to Him. If you're asking Him to help you with something, then He's going to help you in some fashion. It might not be the way we want it to be helped, but it still will get there. But once again, it kind of came down to the action. And then I just really kind of wanted to just leave on this one verse, but question. When we were growing up, was there anyone that you wanted to make proud? Like you just wanted to win them over? Did you have an uncle that you're like, man, this guy is so cool? Or an aunt, someone, a relative, anybody?
I guess like in my household, like my mom really pushed us to do well in school. So it was kind of like a given that we wanted to please her. Yeah. Now sometimes if we didn't do so well in school, there could be like negative consequences too. But that's like negative reinforcement. But there was positive reinforcement too. So that felt good, especially when you're like in elementary and middle school. In high school, as you get older, become more independent. It's not as important, I guess, but especially those early years, and it still like sticks with you too, even after all these years.
No, exactly. I mean, I always wanted to make obviously my parents proud, my father proud.
Right.
He's always kind of very, very rigid in some fashion of like, hey, this is what you got to do, this is what you got to do. So you're always trying to get the good grades. But like we went out of our way to make those people proud. If you have anyone in your life, I would assume, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like if we were there and we were trying to make those particular family members proud, right? So like, and then now we realize we have a father spiritually, right? Like, well, what are we doing to try to make them proud? Right? Like we're kids. Because if we go back to, I think it's Matthew 18, 1-5. I thought this was kind of a pretty awesome. 1-5. So what it says is, I can see right. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus saying, who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Then Jesus called a little child to him and sat him in the midst of them and said, assuredly, I say to you, unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself as a little child is the greatest of the king in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever receives one little child like this in my name receives me. So the question kind of bears on you, like, well, if we were little kids trying to make our parents proud, what do we do every day to try to make him proud and take an action and try to better ourselves? But that's what I kind of wanted to leave you with.
It's good.
Chris to turn off the recording.